Okay, here we are back in Crimson Gray, and it is time for a new ending. So, we want to keep the original balance going, and this is going to be the Caretaker one, where John lives, but not too well. As per usual, you want to smile at her, you want to have a very good relationship with Lizzie here, just to make this whole thing a little more tragic. So, leave the note, you want to say yes. So you want to talk to Lizzie on this one. This is to boost her relationship points. You want to talk to the pharmacist here so you can get the truth. You'll want to go with Nilazine because hopefully you know Yandequel is not good. You want to tell her that you are dating. What kind of question is that? Because you need to defend your girlfriend. So here you want to keep talking because, well, you'll see. Now you want to take her hand. So right here, you need to convince her to wait. So right here, we actually have to go over the new scenes. Lizzie, I want to be with you too, but now just isn't the right time. What? What's wrong with the time? We're not... Well, I'm not in a good place right now. I want to get my head straight. I'm afraid that my depression will get the better of me. I wouldn't be able to really be with you, and I want our first time to be right. I hope you're not upset. Honestly, I want to keep dating you. That's okay, I understand. But I still don't want you to go. Will you stay a little longer? You won't try to force anything? I understand it's not the right time for that now. Then, I've had a nice time so far. I suppose I can stay a little longer. Here, let me get you some tea. He was left sitting awkwardly by himself, wondering if he's completely insane. Did he seriously just turn down sex with a girl like Lizzie? John wasn't even sure he'd done the right thing. She might be a little unstable, but she was completely in control of herself. Wasn't like there would have been anything wrong with it, or so he'd told himself. But the idea still made part of him deeply uneasy. He wasn't sure why, but he hoped the feeling wouldn't last long. Maybe the tea would calm his nerves. Here you go, John. I brewed a cup for each of us. Thank you. It was just a little sweet, so he took another sip. John usually didn't enjoy tea, but right now the mild taste was exactly what he needed. I'm glad you took this so well, if that makes sense. Of course, John. I want us to be together forever and ever. I wouldn't want to force anything on you before everything is ready. Well, thank you. I think later. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I just want this to work out too. Yes, I understand. I understand that people have hurt you. You're too kind for this world. You need my help. That's kind of you. I'm glad to have you with me. Depression isn't something that's cured, you know? It stays with you. You learn to deal with it. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling so... Wait, Lizzie, did you put something in my tea? It's okay, John. Relax. I'll take care of you. Lizzie, no, don't. His vision faded out and his body went slack. The last thing he felt before he slipped away entirely was Lizzie drawing his head down to rest on her lap. And then this part's going to look a little familiar. The memories returned in a bitterly cold flood. Lizzie must have drugged the tea and brought him wherever this was. I'm sorry, John, I really am, but I don't have a choice. You're so kind. Too kind. I wish you could understand how much I need you. I have to make you understand. What are you going to do to me? Don't be afraid, John. Everything is going to be all right. I'm completely empty. There's nothing inside me. There's never been anything inside me. The emptiness craves something. I didn't understand what I needed for years and years. Eventually I realized that I needed a person. A specific person. But I didn't know who. Occasionally there would be a flicker of feeling. I'd watch someone for a while, but they were never what I needed. Nothing actually mattered. Until I met you. Lizzie, Hush. Let me finish. For so long I could barely even bear to look at you. The feelings were too intense. And then I couldn't bring myself to talk to you. I was afraid it would all just disappear. But the feelings didn't go away. They got stronger. You were made for me, John. You need to understand that. I love you, 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 I love you. Lizzie, I want you to feel that way about me, but not like this. You're not well. You don't mean that, John. John doesn't mean that. I want to be different. Be a girl you could like easily. I tried. But I'm not. I'm empty. I'll be empty until you finally fill that emptiness. Kidnapping and raping me isn't going to get you what you want, Lizzie. Oh, no, no, no. I would never do that to you. You were right before. It's too early for us to do that. Our first time. I wanted to be perfect. Perfect in every way. Then why am I tied to a chair? You're sick too, John. You don't understand how much I love you. I have to make you understand. Stay here. Try to get comfortable. You have days and days to start to understand. Days and days. John recalled that they were going into a full week of vacation. That meant she could keep him here a full 9 days before they had to return to school. That was no accident. Lizzie might be unstable, but her mind was disturbingly clear. She'd planned this, maybe even before asking him out on the date. His heart ached. John couldn't understand the way her mind worked, but she obviously was in great pain. In fact, the way she had spoken, it almost reminded him of his own depression. That brought to mind an old lesson, one he'd learned with a therapist before Mrs. Smythe. His depression explained why he lashed out at those close to him, but it didn't excuse it. The people around him could choose to suffer through it voluntarily, but that was their decision. Was this something he could help Lizzie get through? Did he want to? As he looked around the basement, he saw a lot of heavy tools. Some of the hammers and knives looked as if they had been used. John slumped against the ropes by him to the chair and just wept. So for this part, you have to reason with her. Lizzie, think about this. Do you think controlling me like this will bring us together? You'll forgive me. It's more important for you to understand. But you said it yourself. You're not sure how you're going to make me understand. Shouldn't you try talking to me first? I need to think. Maybe that wouldn't work, but he hoped it stuck with her. She could reason, even if in a strange way. Maybe he could get through to her. So for this part, you need to start planning your escape. His table in place, now reach for the weapons, put them close to the other wall. So here you need to request your old meds. And while she's gone, you gotta keep planning your escape. So using the screwdriver, he's able to open those doors. I forgot what was in there. Ah, the crowbar, that's right. But the legs of the table were metal, the joints of the top weren't strong. Maybe if you struck it with a crowbar, he could bend it a little. The idea filled him with a little hope, but he rejected trying it immediately. He had wasted too much time, and there would be no way to hide an action like that. He needed to escape just after Lizzie left. Instead, John replaced the crowbar, closed the cupboard, and returned to his seat, hoping the fact that it was unlocked wasn't too obvious. Eventually, Lizzie returned, bearing a large white sack. She triumphantly emptied it out on the table, dumping an entire pile of pills in front of him. So for this part, you need to talk about morality. Hey, do you mind if I ask you a random hypothetical question? Ask anything you want. Say a train is running down a track and it'll kill 5 people. You could pull a lever to switch the train to another track where it'll only hit 1 person. Do you pull it? Who are the people on the tracks? That's not supposed to matter. It's just hypothetical. Random people. No one you know. I don't pull the lever. I would leave. He had a feeling he knew what she was going to say, but... Say I'm on the first track and that train is heading towards me. If the lever would make the train hit 5 other people, would you pull it? Yes. What if there were 10 people? The number doesn't matter to me, John. I would kill 100 people. 1,000. And then I would go find the person who put you on the track and kill her. And the train conductor. And everyone on the train who didn't help. If my only choice was to switch the train to come hit me, I would do it. I would do anything. Lizzie, I don't want you to kill yourself for me. You're so sweet. But no, you have to survive. I want us both to be together forever. But if I can give my life to save yours, it would be worth it. How would you answer that question if a teacher asked it? One already did last year. I pretended to be flustered and said I couldn't pull the switch. So you do understand how most people view this. I'm aware of how they think, but I don't understand it. What they think doesn't really matter to me. But if I say the wrong things, people interfere with my life. So I've had to learn to say the right things. I did that with you too, John, at first, because I was afraid you wouldn't love the real me. But you will. Eventually. I'm sure of it. That made things a little uncomfortable for the rest of the day, but John hoped that if he ever did somehow get strapped to train tracks, Lizzie was the one nearby. So, after the morality, you need to make something for her. So here you need to disagree. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. What? But John, I love you. Yes, but if you were convinced your love required you to use that knife on me, you would do it. That's so sweet. What? If you were afraid of me, you would never have been so honest. But even with all my weapons right here, you didn't try to lie to me. Oh, John, I hope you're wrong. I would never ever want to hurt you. But I'm so happy you said what you really think. John swallowed uncomfortably. He wasn't sure where he'd expected honesty to go, but this was better than expected. That's the John I love. I want you to accept me just like that. And you do, even though you're still worried. She wrapped her arms around his neck, still carrying the knife, and kissed him briefly on the forehead. After that, she lowered his face to his, hesitating for a moment. But in the end, pulled back without kissing him on the lips. Oh, you have no idea how much I want to do right now. But I'll wait. I'll wait until you trust me. Do you trust me enough to let me go? Soon, darling, soon. So, time to make our getaway. John carefully retrieved the crowbar, then stood by the table for a while, just trying to motivate himself to actually do it. Eventually he decided he didn't have a choice. He couldn't come this far and back down. He took a deep breath, pulled back, and swung. His first blow glanced off uselessly, and he nearly gave up then, but he forced himself to try again. This time the table creaked. Blow after blow, he slowly bent the table leg inward. It made a horrible noise, but that just motivated him to hit harder. There was no hope of going back now. At last the table leg struck inward at an awkward angle. John dropped the crowbar and bent over, catching his breath. He knew he should check if that was enough, but now he almost didn't want to. Eventually he bent down and tugged at the shackle attached to the table leg. With enough tugging, he managed to pull it off. And then he was free. Maybe. Suddenly unable to deal with the uncertainty, John grabbed the loose chain so that he wouldn't trip over it and rushed for the stairs. Yes, the door was unlocked. He stepped out into the hallway and took a deep breath. Lizzie might have locked the front door, but he could always break a window if necessary. But now that he had gotten this far, John hesitated. What now? Now, we can't afford to leave someone who loves us that much. What were we thinking? John set the screwdriver and crowbar on the table, then repositioned his chair directly in the center of the basement. When he heard Lizzie enter, he sat down facing the door, making the unhooked shackle obvious. Lizzie came down the stairs not long after, a smile on her face, and then she saw him, and her expression became utterly blank. Hello, Lizzie. You stayed. I didn't have to do this. This is my fault. Lizzie, calm down. Please don't get upset. But I kidnapped you and... She was stumbling toward him, and he tensed when she reached behind her. But after pulling her knife from her waistband, she set it down on the table. I almost ruined the only thing I had. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, so sorry. The pain in her words was heartbreaking. Lizzie began to crumple, bending over with her back arched painfully. He moved to wrap his arms around her, keep her from curling against herself. Why? Why are you so kind? Lizzie, I don't want to hurt you either. Please, calm down. Why? Why did you stay? Because I trust you, Lizzie, and I would like to trust you more. You don't have to do anything like this. I won't leave you. I just want to be happy. To smile sweetly and say I love you, and I do love you with everything I am, but there's so much of everything. It's okay, Lizzie. Let out what you feel. I can't believe you stayed. I can't believe you're holding me. Still in his arms, Lizzie unleashed peal after peal of insane laughter. There was an unearthly quality to it that made his skin crawl, but John just held onto her tighter and closed his eyes. Eventually the laughter faded and she was still there. The tension in her body had dissipated, leaving her resting against him. When she looked up into his eyes, there was a sweet love there, and also an intensity. He had never seen both of them in her at the same time, and it made him shiver involuntarily, but not necessarily in fear. John loves me. Yes, I do. I won't leave you. I never thought it could be like this. This is who I am. I thought I would calm down if you loved me, but now I feel so alive. I don't know what to do with these feelings. That's okay, Lizzie. I'll stay with you and we can figure it out together. Then, please kiss me, John. He bent and kissed her gently. She kissed back, gently at first, but then almost viciously. He tasted blood in their kiss and wasn't sure who it was, but he didn't pull away. The kiss was wild and unhinged, utterly unlike any of his fumbling romances in the past. Lizzie's fingers dug into his back, and she kissed until she had to pull back, gasping for breath. Thank you, thank you. Her eyes had softened again. He knew the intensity was still lurking underneath the peace he saw on the surface, but it no longer frightened him. He felt like he should say something, but he couldn't find the words. After a moment, he realized that Lizzie had fallen asleep. After a moment of uncertainty, he decided to carry Lizzie up the stairs. She was much lighter than he expected, and he didn't have a hard time taking her to bed and tucking her in. Lying there, she almost looked angelic. He knew she wasn't, and honestly, he didn't want her to be. John realized that he had stepped over a line, and there was no going back. For now, though, he felt emotionally wrung out. He went to the couch and fell asleep almost immediately. Good morning, John. She was right there, watching him when he woke up. He gave her a soft smile. Good morning, Lizzie. There's one more day before our vacation is over. Would you like to do something? Well, I think we've spent more than enough time in here. Do you want to go out somewhere? Yes, I would like that. And possibly after all that, their date went completely normally. Lizzie seemed more relaxed than he had ever seen her, enjoying herself whether they were walking or eating or just sitting on the bus. She cast him frequent glances, but they held an intense devotion. The desperate ad she had seen there was gone. After so long in the basement, he was glad to stretch his legs and feel the sunlight. It seemed insane that all of what had really happened, but for now he felt too much of a cathartic rush to feel any concern. When the day was over, they returned to her house. She didn't invite him in. Instead, they just lingered at the edge of the property. John, I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything. We can talk about it later. Then I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Yeah, see you then. He watched her go, then turned around and walked back to the bus stop alone. The entire ride back, he tried to think about his experiences, but couldn't even begin to grasp everything that happened. When John got home, he found the door undamaged. The entire house didn't look so different, as if it hadn't been abandoned for 9 days. There was only a single message on the answering machine. His father said that he was going on a company vacation. He didn't spot Lizzie at all, but he opened his locker and discovered her folded note in the center. I don't feel like murdering anyone today. That's a minor improvement. It said, I don't feel like murdering anyone today, surrounded by hearts. Despite himself, John laughed. At least he thought she meant it as a joke. When he looked up, he saw Lizzie around a nearby corner, and she smiled at him before vanishing. And here is where everything falls apart. Drug me up, Doc. Shouldn't you have enough to last you through the end of the month? Well, I feel like it's not enough. Could I take a double dose? We don't recommend that. What I can do, however, is prescribe you a much stronger formulation of Paxidine. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound fine? Yeah, okay. I wouldn't normally do this, but you've been responsive to the normal formulation, so hopefully this will improve your condition further. She gave him a new bottle of pills. They looked basically the same as the old ones, and even the label wasn't much different, but he would take whatever he could get. Within a week, he already felt different. Not better. It was as if all his emotions had been flattened just into a single gray line, leaving him impervious to the world around him. In some ways, it was comforting. He never woke up too depressed to move, and did his work every day. He also never woke up happy, but the longer he was on the medication, the less he cared about that. The one thing that bothered him at the beginning was his thinking seemed to have flattened as well. Only a trickle of mundane thoughts occupied his mind. In time, that seemed like enough. After all, it was easier not to think about what Lizzie had done to him, or about how she was acting more and more erratically now. John? You aren't the John I wanted, but you will always, always be my John. You aren't going to say anything anymore, are you? Then you're going to be mine. I'll take care of you, forever. She took him away and he walked behind her because it didn't really matter what he did. None of it mattered. He had the vague sense that they were on the run from someone, but he just stayed wherever she put him. Soon, he would leave and left his chair. Every day, she would feed him by hand, clean him with a cloth, give him a kiss at night. Eventually, even that faded away. He wasn't sure if he was alive or not, but it didn't matter. That's your Caretaker ending. So basically you have to win Lizzie's affection, but not push her over the edge, which is actually a very, very small line for a yandere, but that's a topic for another day. And then basically just relapse into your drug habit. That's pretty much the whole Caretaker ending. So there is the true ending that's still left, and then there's something that we need to do to just complete the gallery. Unfortunately, I can't even show you that scene because it's one of those things in the alleyway of the fair. Basically, it's something you only need to worry about if you're going to go for like 100% completion with the uncensored patch. If you're playing it censored, or you don't really care about completion, then you can ignore it. But otherwise, that is another route down. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching.